Okay, guys, well, this is part 2 of the Mystery Teachings research notes, the real 13 tribes of Israel. And for any of you guys that sub me for my reports on current events around the world, this information is mainly focused on my research into ancient history. And so therefore you may not really be interested. However, you are quite welcome to listen in, and you may find it helpful to go and watch the Mystery Teachings of Ancient Egypt, because that will give you the information you require to really get a good understanding of the information that is involved now with the research into the 12 tribes of Israel, or rather the 13 real tribes of Israel. So you'll have an understanding for that, and it won't be so difficult for you to grasp the information that I'm relaying. So what I'll do is, just like the last video, I'm just going to do this video as so everyone has an understanding for the mystery teachings, and everyone has a basic understanding of hermetics and the laws of the universe, and that you've also watched part 1, guys, because you'll have to watch part 1, okay, or you're not going to really get part 2. All right, so go back and watch part 1 if you're just finding this video for the first time, to give you the basics of what you'll need to now start understanding the rest of the information. So what I'm going to do in this video, though, is I'm going to read you the Andean prophecy of spiritual evolution. And this is from a book called Keepers of the Ancient Knowledge, The Mystical World of the Quiro, Indians of Peru. Now, this is a fantastic book because this woman, Joan Parisi Wilcox, has gone into the mountains of Peru, up into the Andean highlands, and she has met with all of these ancient knowledge keepers. But she has gone across the entire tribes throughout these Quiro. So she's not just got the one story, she's actually gone across. So just like I go across culture when I'm doing my research, she's actually done this across the Peruvian elders, basically, to get the basis of a story. And it's interesting that this prophecy is not known by a lot of the other Quiro, because she actually went and done she went down and spoke to some of the other Quiro that weren't up in the highlands, like the Quiro that relayed this story to her. But she says that they just forget, they don't remember, and they've all been affected by lower consciousness. This is what the elders are even saying. They know this happens, they prepare for it, it's all part of the process. They are completely aware of what happens, and how some of this information never gets passed down because families start fighting. The son and the father are no longer talking. All of these things happen even to the ancients, that we all revere, the Mayan elders, the same. All of the Native American elders out there now speaking out, wonderful, beautiful, but remember, they're still only operating in lower consciousness like the rest of us, and they've only got fragments like the rest of us, and they're only trying to put it together like the rest of us, and they're also susceptible to being sent off track through the agenda of, others that want to keep us away from this knowledge. Okay, because I notice a few of these Native American tribes are really getting into this ET stuff, okay? So I don't go down that road, and I think if they really go back and look at their prophecy properly, they'll understand that they're talking about ethereal beings, which are not the aliens that we've been sold by Hollywood, okay? Because that's what they've tried to turn it into. When in fact, yes, there are ethereal beings, and no doubt when the ether returns, we can interact with them. And they are highly conscious. I can imagine. But they, of course, want to bring everything in the physical, so the only way we can interact with other beings would be on the physical plane, on our level, traveling through space, in spaceships, and they've got weapons, and we've got weapons, and we bring it always down into lower consciousness. If they want to kill us, because we automatically think they want to kill us because we want to kill everything else. So we just, in our lower consciousness and ignorance, that we project that onto every other living being would want to have that same intent. Whereas in fact, highly conscious beings do not see any need for violence. It's there and they'll use it, but really it's just a waste of energy when you could actually just be furthering yourself and expanding yourself and seeking information. You see, the agenda's been that the small group of reptilian conscious elites at the top have made us believe that we really are a race of violent, evil, horrible entities that have to be controlled by the military and police, and it's worked perfectly. And you even hear slaves defending their masters by saying, we couldn't possibly live on this planet without police and laws and military and government. And that just goes to show me just how really badly psyoped we are as a species. And that's okay, I've come to terms with that. And we all have to really come to terms with how badly we've been psyoped and how badly we've been really screwed over by the establishment and the truth that they're hiding from us. So when we do overcome that programming and we start looking for the real information and the real truth, well, it's actually quite fucking great, because it's all about us, really. It's all about the greatness within us that they've wanted to hide, because they fear that. Why wouldn't they? Okay, all they've had to go on is their bullshit illusion. They are the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. They really are. Okay? And they've manipulated us consciously and mentally because they knew how to. And we're easy to psyop. There's plenty of information out there. You can look on YouTube about how easy it is for the human psyche, the human consciousness to be psyoped and programmed. Okay, we're at their mercy. And we even continue on. We serve our children up to them and put them in front of the TV, and we program them as well for the establishment. And then there's even these people out there that still watch TV. Oh, I just watch a few shows. It's like an alcoholic saying, I just have a few drinks. I mean, you either completely remove yourself from the teat of the machine or you don't. There is no halfway, or you'll only ever be halfway. Okay? So these are the types of things we have to come to terms with if we are true students of the mystery teachings, because it's in the seeking of ourselves and getting real about ourselves that where we find the understanding for this information, and how it all fits with us, being in the picture, because we have to understand that each one of us is a 0 point in the existence of the Creator. Okay, so we all count. And so we just have to remember that, and a lot of us have forgot it, and we're all fighting, and that's once again an agenda. And even with this information, there's going to be people that come out and say, yes, they've had, dealings with elders who have told them this and told them that and the whole thing. Well, that's great. These elders don't actually do DMT. They don't do ayahuasca, okay? And I'm actually thankful for that, because this is why the information is so solid. Now, I'm not going against DMT for experiences, but if you have no understanding of who you are, if you do not know thyself and you haven't gone seeking the information left to us by the ancients, the real information, then you are going to go into that experience ignorant, and you're going to come out of it ignorant. Okay, with no more of an understanding who you are, just a psychedelic experience or some really insightful experience about something that could be profound, but nevertheless, it's really not going to account for much more, and you're going to go on continually blind of who you are. Okay? So I'm not really interested in anyone's DMT experiences. Often I have people writing me big, long personal messages about DMT experiences and what does it mean. And really, it means whatever you want it to mean, because it's all subjective to you. And that's why when you go into these experiences, you'll only experience what your reality, your conscious reality is at that moment. So if you're a, ignorant person, then that's what is going to happen within your experience. You may have an experience, but you may not really bring anything out of it, So real information comes from real information, guys. I've heard a lot of people say that, oh, I can just go and seek whatever by, information will just come to me. You're deluding yourself, okay? So this video is not for those types of people, all right? If you already know everything, then please continue on with your know-it-all, everything, consciousness and mentality somewhere else, because this is for the students. And I'm a student even though I've got the ability to piece together this information, and really that's all I'm doing, guys, I'm just piecing together this information, there is no reason that each of us cannot do the same thing. You know, we're all students here, and I'm continually a student myself, and this is what allows me to continually accept more information. And now that I've got more information about the tribes of Israel and the divine ones and the divine group, I know that the symbolism now has another layer to it. It's like another fractal. Okay, so the symbolism within the numbers and the sacred geometry and their meanings are also fractal, just like everything else in the universe. And this is also contained within the meaning of symbolism that they've shown us, that it is a fractal. And so now we can begin looking at this symbolism with new eyes, because we know that we have a divine group of 104, and I'll go more into this in the next video of these numbers, and we'll start getting into the numbers and starting to confirm the numbers, and it's all based on sacred geometry. This is why the information is always, the good information is always confirming itself with other information. You always know, and this is why when I see this information from the Andean elders that just happen to be the elders that didn't do the ayahuasca, that haven't gone down and interacted with the others, happens to be pretty much exactly what all the rest of the information is showing me from the other cultures, including scripture. The parts of scripture that you need to look at. Okay? And that's the difference about scripture too. It's no good just looking at the Bible and expecting the Bible to tell you the story, because if that was the case, then we'd already know everything. We wouldn't be finding this new information about who we are, and we wouldn't be discovering this new information about the tribes of Israel and the 104 divine ones. So we need to understand that if we're going to look at the Bible, we've got to remove the bullshit that they've put in. So we have to use the sacred geometry given to us by the pendant and use it to extract information from the Bible that we can depend upon, not the bullshit that they've put in there. Because we now know that Mary Magdalene was equally a Messiah with Jesus, yet she's been practically removed from the Bible and called a whore. So now can you imagine what the rest of the information is going to look like? You know, as well as them trying to bring it into the physical with this about being real historical events that happened thousands of years ago with real people, you know, in the desert, under trees, and all of the, you know, settings they always show us when they relay us this information on these archaeology documentaries about the Bible, which I just find so amusing that there's archaeologists out there actually spending money on looking for these mythical people and mythical places, because the places in the Bible are just symbolic. They're not actual places on, you know, planet Earth at the moment that people have claimed to be a holy land, you know? That's not how it works, and that's where it must have taken place, because that's what they've called Israel, so that's it. You know, that's not it. It's just the setting, and Israel is actually the Holy Land because that's where God lives, you know? And so Israel is a reflection on earth of where God lives. And so that's what Israel means. It's not really a place. It's just that process of God and earth sharing a certain place more than others. And it's not anything to do with a culture called, you know, the Jews that live in Israel. It's not, okay? So we've got to start understanding that it's symbolic. It's of the divine ones. It's of the processes and evolution of the souls as they once again move towards the end of the cycle, where the physical foundations crumble and the struggles between this, you know, negative and positive influences, or the dark and the light, you know, it's all there. The polarity, you know, the extremes of the polarity are coming into play at the end of the cycle, as well as the pendulum tries to find its center. You know, and this is what's all occurring at this time. And so this information was always there and available for us if we go and seek it. But the ones that have taken control of the information in scripture are the ones that are saying, oh no, this is how you should interpret the information. And so anyone that's still really wanting to get real about finding out what scripture means, if you're still mentally having the perspective that this is people, real people, and events that have happened, and their names, and son of son. I mean, this is where they corrupted the Bible the first, you know, removing people and changing them around and names. I mean, you know, That's why I'm only going to take from the Bible what confirms itself through the information. I'm not going to do it the other way around. So, that's what I'm interested in. And anyone that really wants to send me any information about, experiences, rather than that, which is, as I said, is all subjective to the self, if you could find information pertaining to what I'm bringing out and relay that to the sacred geometry so we know we can confirm it somewhere, that's what's really helpful for me, and that's what is helpful for the collective, because really what I'm doing is for the collective. And so that's another mentality we've got to start going back into. This actually just doing things for the collective to help each other, because that's just what we want to do, because we want to better the all, because we really are the all. I love how everyone throws that around and they just want to make it that, somehow we can meditate together as one and that'll change something. And that's the absolute crap of what the all means, because it's cause and effect. What lifts the all, and cause and effect is expressed through the throat as well as the solar plexus, and physically in our and our heart from expressing ourselves in the way we behave and speak verbally. Okay, not meditating and keeping it in the mental, where the agenda's been to do this, and this is why the New Age movement has been completely infiltrated. And once again, people that are on their knees to the New Age movement and all the gurus out there, then this information you will not find helpful, okay? Because you've been told that you're the God and creating your reality. And so what you've done is actually you've dismissed your divinity, because if you dismiss this information, you're dismissing the divine within you. So that's fine. You can continue on and go and be some God somewhere, creating some reality somewhere in your own little bubble of illusion, listening to your gurus, okay? Never being responsible for anything but yourself, and then just sharing sickly sweet memes on Facebook as though that's your contribution to the all, okay? That you're sharing something nice and loving and you're smiling to everyone fakely, okay? And being nice about everything. So that's not the kind of information that I've got on my channel. My information is about getting real, not being fake, living in truth, speaking your truth no matter what that means and who that upsets. Okay, as I've said before, if you don't have enemies, you're not speaking out, you're not doing enough. Okay, that's this kind of information, and that's who the Creator rewards through access to your divinity. Because what you do when you access that is you're actually connecting back into how important you are and how important Mother Earth is and how important the collective is as part of our existence. So it comes naturally. So, that's the type of, students that really benefit from this information. The ones that get real, the ones that want to look within, that don't want to hold their spirituality as a type of badge that they can be better than someone and then walk away saying namaste and eating their mung beans and drinking their soy lattes, seriously. And if you happen to be one of those people that have just happened across this video, then maybe that's for a reason too. Because I see a hell of a lot of lost people out there that actually think they know shit. Okay, and all they've done is listen to some channeled, information from Abraham or Bashar or, Wayne Dwyer and Louise Hay and all of these other New Age prophets. Profits. Okay? So, anyway, I will stop rambling on, but you'll note that these videos are going to be me rambling. Okay, I'm just going to put it all out there and get it out there. And what I want to do is actually get all this information out there really raw like this, with my thoughts attached and my ramblings attached. And then hopefully I'm going to go back and then try and fill in the gaps a little bit more with some detail and maybe narrate it like I did with the mystery teachings and put it together properly about the tribes, and then try and do that all with the graphics of the numbers, because when I come back to the diagrams in the next video, which is what I'm setting you up for with this information now from the Andean elders, I suppose it would be a lot easier to be able to see the numbers if you've put that in the way that the mystery teachings, because you have to, have a basic understanding of sacred geometry. And this is what seeking information means, guys. Going and getting that, it's like, oh, okay, this information's got sacred geometry in it. I don't really know sacred geometry. I'll go and look at something else. Instead what you should be doing is, oh, okay, I'm going to go and check out sacred geometry and get an understanding for sacred geometry so then I can understand this information. That's what seeking is, okay? That's what finding the inner kingdom really is about. That's how you are illuminating your path as the hermit, seeking the inner path with the lantern held at your heart, illuminating your path. Your heart is listening to your instincts, to what you're, intuitively being given from the ethereal, from the universe. And the more you trust that, the brighter that lantern glows, okay? And the more it's revealed to you. It works like this process. And so the stronger you become, but it all begins with a belief in yourself. So this is really what we're discovering, is a belief in ourselves. So it's not about anything else but thyself, and how helping the collective also helps thyself. Because as you'll find with this information, and especially with the messiahs and how the messiahs illuminate and how that works for the collective and how that's even done through the sequence of sacred geometry, you'll start to realize really how connected we really are, and you'll start to see really how they've divided us all when really we're all the same. And this is what they've not wanted us to know, guys. I mean, they are terrified of us realizing this information coming out about the messiahs being in every race and us all being great within. Oh my God, they are not going to want to know about that. So, we have to understand that this is what's been hidden. And this is now what's being revealed thanks to the pendant, okay, that's given us the codes. And hence why I say that's really all I'm interested in when people, are giving me information, stuff that relates back to the codes, the sacred geometry codes and the chakra and the Rider-Waite Tarot. Rider-Waite Tarot, is anyone going out and investigating the Rider-Waite Tarot? Because any of you students out there are lots of symbols that I've missed, that I've not really looked into fully. Okay, because now I'm coming onto this information as well. So please feel free to go and look further into the symbolism within the tarot cards, because I'm sure there is much there to be revealed. And I am seeing much more revealed. And we'll bring that to you as well in these Mystery Teachings research notes. But it will be just as I come across it, So that's all I'm saying. Just with people that want to help me out with research and that are interested in seeking and really seeking to find, the inner kingdom, that's the best way to do it. Alrighty, okay. I really will do this Andean prophecy of spiritual evolution. Now, I'm going to read it out. It's about a couple of pages long, 6 or 7. And so if I make a few mistakes, please forgive me. I'll do my best to just try and not make any mistakes. Okay, here we go. Okay, now before I do go ahead, I'm going to pronounce these words the way I just see they are pronounced, which is probably not going to be correct. So also, forgive me for the butchering of any Andean words as I read this prophecy. Okay, Juan Núñez del Prado is keenly interested in Andean prophecy because as a Paco, now Paco or Paco is basically someone that has decided to be a student of the teachings, of the Andean teachings, okay, the mystery teachings of the Andeans, basically. What we're doing now, but basically the Andean version. So they're the Pacos. But as I mentioned, a lot of them have gone into lower consciousness and a lot of the information hasn't been passed down. And this is why this book's great, because she goes into all of that. She explains how lower consciousness has affected them. And it's great because it was written in 2001. Okay, she did not even have this information on hand, and now it's been confirmed through everything that I'm finding. So it goes on to say, because as a Paco in service to others, he is always looking for ways to help others empower themselves. Okay, now I'll just stop there because it's important to see that he understands that empowering himself and empowering his divinity is about giving to the collective, for nothing but the benefit of the all. And so the more that he gives to the collective, the more he receives. Okay, the more he receives from his divinity, from being connected to the divine. Okay, so the ethereal and his divinity, he can access, more information from empowering others and helping others, but truly doing this from just coming from a place of wanting to help. So no money can exchange hands, okay? And a lot of these Pacos as well, they build up their energy through Mother Earth. There's two types of energy, and I'll go into this in another video. The Sami and the Hucha. Now the Sami is refined energy, and so they always try and be a receptacle for the higher energy, and they allow anyone to just come and take that energy. You don't have to ask them. If you see a Paco, you can automatically walk up to them and just take their energy from them and have some Sami energy from them, and that's okay, because that's what they're there for. And they know that by being of service purely as a receptacle for the others, like the Grail, if you remember in the Ace of Cups, that they get more to manna, okay? Manna from heaven, basically, to give to the collective. All right? Okay, so it goes on. What better way to serve than to contribute to the spiritual evolution of humankind? One, like most of us, is familiar with other prophecies, especially those of the Hopi and Maya. Interestingly, the Andean dates correspond with the famous AD 2012 date of the Maya. One day, sometime in the mid-1980s, while talking with Benito Kuraman, Juan asked if the time of conscious evolution was upon us. Now, even though, people say 2012, I'm really seeing it as the ether starts just coming in slowly. And I really think it began in 2010, to tell you the truth, when the solar maximum cycle began. And there is another alignment that actually shows that could be the case as well. So even though I think 2012 was a really important indicator, as in it was like a spoke in the wheel, okay, of the cycle, I do still think that the ether is something like the tide when it comes in, and so it just slowly permeates in. But then all of a sudden we'll just get an overabundance, because the ether is basically also preparing us for the light, getting us our ethereal selves prepared for the light. This is why some of us are feeling these physical symptoms from the solar weather, because what it is our ethereal body then realigns. Our physical body is realigning with the ethereal that's just been affected by all of the activity and the ether that's coming in. So I know a lot of you are ready for this information and understand what I'm talking about, so that's why I'm putting it out there now. All right, so let's keep going, and I'll try not to keep interrupting. One day, sometime in the mid-1980s, while talking with Benito Kiriman, Juan asked if the time of conscious evolution was upon us. Don Benito walked outside and gazed over the sacred valley of Cuzco and an apu that looks over the area. No, he said, it is not time yet. When Juan asked him how he knew this, Don Benito pointed toward the sacred valley and said, it's Pokpo, they call it, and it's an energy bubble. Its Pokpo is only halfway up the Apu. That time will not come until the bubble of Cusco has reached the top of the Apu. We have no report of how high the bubble of Cusco has risen since then, but we do know a series of specific occurrences and dates by which we can gauge the process of the prophecy. What follows is an overview of Andean prophecy. The opening theatrical discussion, in my own understanding, based on conversations with Juan and others, but the specific details of the prophecy are those Juan has gathered during decades of talking with Pacos throughout the Andes. The reader should understand that this is Andean, not specifically Quiro prophecy, although some Quiros, such as Don Manuel Quispe, are keepers of portions of it. As has been explained, generally there are two paths in the Andean mystical tradition: the path of the Pampa Mesayug, and the path of the Alta Mesayug. I have elsewhere described the four levels of the Alta Mesayug path. The Alta Mesayug, Ilata Alto Mesayug, Suya Alto Mesayug, and Kurug al Kelek. Kurak al Kelek. That's Akulleq. Akelek. However, there are three additional levels. So basically there's four levels, okay? Sorry for butchering that completely. It's always easier to read these books in your mind where you can just make these words say what you want, but sorry, I just did try and express them to you and explain them. But okay, so basically There's 4 levels and 3 additional levels to the mystical priesthood, okay? Although there are currently no Pacos working at these levels, okay? So the only Pacos at the moment in the Andeans are all working at lower levels. And they're not yet worked up to the top, because the Andeans also talk about it, and I don't know if they're going to talk about it in this prophecy here, so I'll just quickly tell you. They also talk about energy bands, okay? And they call them energy bands, and they also, they talk about the 7 chakras, but they talk about them a bit differently. The way they talk about energy, they talk about it more in being in bands. And this also fits in actually to what I found out about the root chakra as well, that I'll bring to you later as well, because even the Taoists, they look at energy bands as well, okay? So there is something to this, seeing it not so much as only points, okay? And it's a connection as well, all right? And it's more of bands. Okay, I don't want to go and tangent off. Let's keep going. So they're basically saying that this is the prophecy of the Andeans. This guy has collected it off all of the Andean elders that he's found, and he's gone and spoken to them all, and he's basically put it all together of what they've all told him. And this is what they've relayed. An overturning of space-time. Now, I take space as being ether, okay? From approximately the 1st of August 1990 to August the 1st, 1993, according to the Andean prophecy, the world experienced a Pachakuti, an overturning of space-time. Now, isn't that interesting? Because, yes, if you go back to 1990, sorry about that, guys, my screen's just gone off. If you go back to around that time, there was definite changes, big changes in the space weather. And you have a look at the crop circles and how they started changing in the 1990s. Okay? We started getting those really awesome sacred geometry ones. So absolutely, I can see that this is spot on, even just in what I've been observing myself. Okay. The word Pachakuti comes from the name of the 9th Inca, Pachakuti, who was largely responsible for building the great Inca Empire, expanding the empire by conquest from present-day southern Colombia to northernmost Chile. Inca Pachakuti is also credited with codifying moral law into civil law and with masterminding a great building campaign. From the storehouses that dot the thousands of miles of roadways to the magnificently designed city of Cusco to the farmed citadel in the clouds, Machu Picchu. Through Pachacuti's vision and will, the relatively small Inca state was transformed into one of the most astonishing empires in the world. Accordingly, whenever society underwent a momentous change, the upheaval or reordering was referred to as a Pachakuti. Within the prophetic tradition, the term Pachakuti is applied to any cosmic transformation. Such a movement of energy, of consciousness, ripples through space-time, affecting every aspect of our sense of selfhood in time and space, of our sense of interconnectedness with the great web of being. A Pachakuti signals a dynamic point of intersection in space-time between human consciousness and Korsei, the multi-dimensional creative principle and accumulating energy of the cosmos. Okay, so the Korsei, I'm thinking, is the ethereal, is the ether, the Holy Spirit. An intersection from which the arrow of time for each possible future is nudged in one direction or the other. According to Andean prophecy, such a cosmic reordering took place in early 1990s, ushering in the formative years of the fabled Tarape Pacha, the age of meeting ourselves again. I find that interesting, the age of meeting ourselves again. This initial period will last 7 years. 7 years? That's also what the Hopi say. Through the millennia year 2000, and during this period, the choices humankind make will affect which possible future will likely manifest. Now, the 7 years is also symbolic for the seven ethereal gates as well. Okay, so we have to understand that. Remember, symbolism is fractal. Okay, so we have to understand that whenever we see these numbers of 7 and 6 and any of these sacred geometry numbers in any of these prophecies, we have to look at that with the perception of another facet of information that they give us when they're explaining something with, using these numbers. And then it goes on to say, the great pull of our interconnected consciousness, our collective mind, will collapse the wave function, to use the terminology of quantum physics, to make one probability, one possible future, measurable in space-time, that is, reality. Now remember how I said that we're a reflection back to upper consciousness and higher consciousness, the divine as well, and that also influences certain timings of events and when they go ahead. Well, this is even being relayed here. So it's not that these events can never not take place, because there are certain events that happen that will always happen regardless. But it's when these events do occur that we have free will to decide as a collective. Okay, and this is basically what the Andeans are saying as well. During this period, human consciousness has the opportunity to evolve, resulting in our harnessing incredible healing power, as detailed below in the discussion of the Inca Malkus. This infallible healing capacity signals the fifth level of sacred priesthood, or the fifth level of human consciousness manifest on earth. Now, isn't it interesting, the Inca Malkus, and it's spelled Mallcus, and we have Malkuth, which is the last, the root chakra on the tree of life, and also represents foundation and the divine being brought down to earth. Okay, so that's really interesting. So we see that connection here. This infallible healing capacity signals the fifth level of the sacred priesthood. Now, the fifth level, 5, is connected to Thoth and Moses, and also the 5 card, the Hierophant, and Destiny and the Covenant. Okay, it's basically also God playing out his destiny on foundation. Okay, so 4 being foundation, 1 being God, and also 4 being the 4 messiahs. Okay, and 1 being God as well. Now, the 4 messiahs can also turn to 8 messiahs. We have to understand that just like a square, 4 and 8 are interchangeable numbers. So if you see a square, you look at it, it has 4 sides, but it also has 4 points, okay? So it's also 8. So we have to understand that when we see the numbers 4 and 8, that they're interchangeable, and they're also talking about the divine, and that how, as I said, these numbers are fractal. So the number 5, when we see it within certain symbolism, is also relaying God's hand almost, right? Reaching out and being connected with Mother Earth through the thumb, say, being him, and the 4 other fingers being the divine ones, and he's put his hand onto Mother Earth, and it stays there solidly, never moving, okay? His ethereal hand connected from his higher consciousness, the mental universe, his mind in Orion, basically, okay? Osiris, Odin, God, Zeus, and this is unmoving, never changing, and there is scripture that I'll bring you that also confirms this. So it's interesting that we see 5 once again relayed in this information with the Andean prophecy. The infallible healing capacity signals the 5th level of the sacred priesthood, or the 5th level of human consciousness manifest on earth. 5th level, okay, that's making sense now. The 5th level of the mystical priesthood will be heralded by the deliverance of new carpe, or rite of initiation, called the Mosok carpe. It does not yet exist, and all Andean Pacos are awaiting it. Okay, so they still were awaiting the ether to come through, by the sounds of it, this other deliverance of, or the Holy Spirit perhaps, because remember, there's Holy Spirit and there's ether, and the Holy Spirit is what permeates the ether. It's like the God consciousness returning within the ether. And then it goes on to say, it does not yet exist, and the Andean Pacos are awaiting it. At least one North American teacher of Inca shamanism has claimed that the Kiro are giving the Moscow Carpe initiation. This is either a misunderstanding or misinterpretation on his part, for the Carpe is part of the prophecy and has not yet been given to the Andean Paco. One can think of the 5th level in terms of similar to the concept of the 5th world, of the Hopi or Maya, and a new cycle. So my thoughts are the fifth world are in one cycle. It's not actually a fifth other processional cycle. It's actually just the fifth world within the cycle, and this is when the divine comes back. The divine returns. God's hand returns back on the earth. Okay, puts his hand back on the earth. Well, it's always there, as I was saying, but it's like we feel the presence again. It's like God illuminates a light that goes down the hand, onto the fingers, and into the earth, and in turn, the Messiahs are illuminated. Okay, as is Mother Earth, and then from the Messiahs the cup runs over and everything else is illuminated. During this period, sorry guys, I keep stopping to tell you things and then I'm losing my place. Okay. During this period when our healing capacities are fully harnessed, our full power basically, we can begin to move out of the deterministic stream of physical evolution and into a more creative stream of conscious evolution. So we're moving from the physical into the ether. That is, the emphasis of life begins to shift from the physical expression into energetic one. So they're confirming that, we're going into energy, we're going into being light beings again, we're going to be more into who we are, ethereal light beings. Because remember, that's how we first manifest. So we are really more at home in the ethereal, guys, than we are in the physical. This is why we fall apart in the physical, okay? And that's okay, because it's all meant to be part of the cycle and experience of souls. Anyway, let's go on. This is the emphasis of life begins to shift from a physical expression to an energetic one. We will move closer to becoming true light beings, literal children of the sun. Following this 7-year period is a 12-year period. Oh, there we go. There's the 12, okay? 12 tribes. During which humankind, if given the energetic capacity and the spiritual will, can mature and evolve further in order to manifest a new era of peace, harmony, spiritual renewal, and reconnection to the realm of nature. Well, this will just be taken out of our hands when we're consciously ready anyway, okay? So those that, when the tipping point comes, that the wheel will spin in the cycle and the new consciousness will come in, and then the purifying begins, basically, and after that, the cycle begins once again. During the period, the Sapa, Inca and Koya, enlightened political leaders who will be known by their visible glow or aura. Okay, now this is what I've said before, guys. All right, this is how we know the divine group, because they have a physical glow, and how I think that perhaps this is why we get confused and think that Jesus was the one that was visiting all these different places and cultures, because they all talk of this white man, this white Pahana and white God, and it really is just that this is a glow. But not only that, and I'll bring you more information in this other video about what happens with the tribes. They get dispersed together, guys, okay? Not all the white tribe of divine 12 tribes go to the same area, all right? And I'll show you it's all done, all in sequence, as it would as everything else is done in the universe, okay? It's just beautiful. So this will give you more understanding in that. Okay, let's keep going. And so these lightened in political leaders are the divine ones. Okay, they're not political, all right, because there's just a collective here. It's about helping the collective. And remember, the only way you receive more enlightenment and more information and more knowledge and more divinity is when you do it for the good of the all. So these leaders, these divine ones, come forward for only the good of the all. Otherwise, they don't glow, all right? That's how it basically works. All right, so then it goes on to say, oh my God, guys, it gets even better. Okay, I have read this, okay, last year, and I've just read pieces of it before that I knew I wanted to bring you, but then I just decided before, you know what, I'm going to read the whole lot to you. I'm not just going to highlight certain pieces and bring it to you because it's connecting with what I found. I'm just going to read the entire, prophecy, and then we've got it on hand as well, but now with my ramblings through it. But anyway, let's go because it's getting good now. And now we're seeing, the 4. Okay. So it goes on to say that they'll be known by their glow, okay, and they'll become role models. They'll become world leaders. The word Tawante Suyu, okay, they are the reunited Tawante Suyu. That's who they are, the reunited. Tawante Suyu. The Kuchu name for the Inca Empire means 4 quarters. 4 quarters, guys. Okay, 4 messiahs. All right, 4 races. All right. Anyone familiar with the Native American concepts, or for that matter with the terminology of the mystical cosmologies, will recognize the correlation between the four sacred directions, because once again, they also made reference to these four races they knew: the red, white, the yellow, and the black. Okay, what they've been hiding from us, because this is the information that really will be the nail in the coffin for these fuckers. Okay, knowing that we're all great and we don't have to be fighting each other, because really that's how they hold us down now. And this infighting of black and white is really, really bad still. You know, I still see a lot of comments between people, and it's just horrible. You know, when really we are all here as slaves under them, these horribly unconscious reptilian-like beings, okay, that have taken control in the physical. Okay, so the reunification of the Inca Empire will be a physical reality according to the prophecies. Okay, they say this is going to come back. Well, of course they do. It's a cycle. They know that it happens, you know. And it signals an end to the boundaries of all kinds that separate us, and the possibility of a harmonious world culture and a refined human consciousness that is receptive to and in harmony with consciousness of all kinds, those of nature and those we cannot yet imagine. Parkos, or spiritual seekers of any kind, are integral to this maturation process. In fact, it is one's belief that within the Andean vision for the Tarape Pacha, anyone of sufficient spiritual awareness of any ethical heritage or cultural or religious background can contribute to raising the vibrational energy and the spiritual consciousness to the level needed to complete the transformation. Okay, right? So this is true, and this is where we are a reflection back to upper consciousness, okay, to the divine above. And we don't do this by sitting in circles meditating, okay? We do this by being seekers and understanding who we are and becoming part of the collective and strengthening ourselves, okay? That's how we raise and help Mother Earth. We don't turn our back on her and think we're not going to look at things because they're too negative, and we're only going to look at the positive, and we're only going to meditate on good things and look at good things, okay? And this is where we will never find our power, in the only doing the meditation and staying in the mental and this agenda they have of keeping us away from looking at anything negative, and somehow you're unspiritual if you go into, you know, looking at negative situations and speaking out about them and having a voice and standing in truth, okay? That's not being spiritual, and that's not being helpful to the collective. If people are speaking out, if someone's speaking out for the collective about the masters at the top, and someone's speaking out yelling about them, and then the other slaves tell them to shut up, you're not helping them by saying you shouldn't have an opinion and you shouldn't be judgmental. You're actually disempowering the collective, and you're actually on the side of the reptiles, the reptilian consciousness that has taken control of the planet. So just know that, okay? All of you people out there in New Age land that want to only look at the positive, all right? You're not helping Mother Earth by meditating and sending her love, all right? Stand in your truth and start speaking out for her, okay? And start connecting fully with your heart, and that's by acknowledging the pain and suffering that's happening across her with not only Mother Earth, but all of the creatures that exist on her. That's how you find your heart and how you find yourself, and, you know, that's where the inner path is, through truth. All right? Okay, then it goes on to say, Andean prophecy, as gathered by one over the past 2 decades, details specific occurrences that will signal the unfolding of this new era. The first is the rise of the 12 Inca Malkus. This is the part I was actually going to give you. Or supreme healers called the 2K Hompe. Or Pacos are healers. Healers, have I already read that? No, I haven't. Sorry, guys. I thought I had. No, this is the part that I must have, I was going to copy and paste and give you. Right, so we're all healers, and we've all got the ability to manifest as, you know, divine, you know, the divine within us manifest on this planet to full illumination. Okay, that's basically what they're saying, and it comes from the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes that are the divine ones, okay, and from them, the illumination. And they can heal, blah, blah, blah. It just goes on a bit. I'm not going to go into that. He's just basically, because I'm talking too much, I'm sorry, guys. he's just kind of going in a little bit to how it's in with these healers, but I more want to go back into this here. Okay, these 12 fifth level Pacos will manifest in very specific places and times. The first is to reveal himself, and it will be male. So this is also in line with the tarot, okay, and the magician. The male is the first Messiah to illuminate, and then from the male comes the female to illuminate, and then it'll be the divine ones in the tribe. All the males in the tribe will illuminate, and then the divine ones in the tribe will illuminate, and then it'll go down in layers, okay, from there on. And this is also what it's saying within this prophecy. And his manifestation is imminent, and he will travel from Qualati along the ancient squires or geographic and energetic lines and connect the sacred sites. Simultaneously, the second Inca Malaku will manifest somewhere in the vicinity of the ancient temple of Huaracucha at Ruchai. He too will travel the sequoias to Cusco, where these two Inca Malakus will recognize each other during the feast of Corpus Christi. Okay. At that time, the third Inca will come and reveal himself at the shrine, and then in succession it pretty much goes from there. All right? And they even talk about the female Inca. They're even talking about the female Inca as well. Okay? Manifesting. And then it goes on to say, this group of fifth level Pacos will then travel by boat to the southern Peru, to the sanctuary of the Virgin of Chapa in the city of Arapaya. And then the second Nusta will reveal herself. So then it goes on to say they travel to all these different places, revealing themselves until they're all revealed. Okay, and this is even when you go and have a look at what the Cathars said with the Holy Grail, where Mary Magdalene travelled with Jesus. Okay, it's the same thing. It's the same story, guys. All right, because it's the same thing of all the different tribes, of all the messiahs. They all go through the same sequence. Okay, and it's all being repeated pretty much word for word in the Andean information as well. If not, more information is being given to us without so much religious agenda and corruption in the text and the removing of, Mary Magdalene and the divine. And then it goes on to say that the supreme rulers, the Sapa Inca, they call them, which means Soul Lord or Supreme Ruler, and the Koya, who is the Sapa Inca's female equivalent, a spiritually enlightened couple of the 6th level. Well, what else is at the 6th level, guys? What happens after destiny at the 5th level plays out at the 6th level, and you've made it through the heart? Well, that's where you meet God, the Creator, face to face once again. Okay, through the third eye. All right, chakra number 6. And they are recognized by the bright white or golden aura that surrounds their physical bodies. And it's just like the halos in all of the religious paintings. And when you look at the law of correspondence and you look that all the planets can have halos, there is no reason whatsoever using the law of correspondence that humans cannot have halos as well, because we are, as I said, ethereal light beings. So when we move back more into being electric, ethereal light beings, energetic beings, the divine ones that are closer to the connection of the Creator will glow more. And then from their glow, from their illumination, like the cup that flows over, everything else illuminates, okay? And this isn't just with humans either, okay? We have to understand this plays out in the animal kingdom and also with trees. And that's why we have these trees that we hear of, these mythical trees, okay? And these mythical animals that we see the ancient Egyptians revering, all right? Because animals are divine as well. And we even see this in the 4 symbols of the bull, the lion, the eagle, and the man. And I'll bring you more information in regards to that in the next video as well. I'm just going to try and get through this, okay? Okay, it goes on to say that it is unclear if they will arise among the 12 at the 5th level. So here they're actually separating the messiahs from the 12, okay, as well. Because the messiahs, remember, are like a reflection from the connection that the divine has at all times with Mother Earth, with foundation, okay? And they're like counted twice, like a baker's dozen, okay? It's like a baker's dozen. So even though the messiahs are the 13, they're also included within the tribe of the 12. All right, and as I said, I'll bring you more information about that in the diagrams. But it's just good to see that it's been confirmed here as well. But together they will enter Cusco, the ancient Inca capital, and reunite and extend the ancient Inca empire, the Tahuantinsuyu. From there, they will serve as role models, teaching political leaders how to govern with love and respect, and teaching all humankind how to live in harmony in nature. So basically, this is the golden age, guys, where philosophy rules, where Kronos, oversees the golden age, and it's the time of great learning and knowledge gathering and seeking, and when all of these great civilizations are built for nothing more than the seeking and expansion of who we are, and just celebrating ourselves and God and the Creator, in the physical manifestation. I mean, seriously, this is what all of the mythology is saying. I mean, no wonder they want to hide this stuff from us, guys. And they'll be capable of teaching people how to use their powers, basically, it goes on to say. But anyway, I'm not going to read you guys any more of this because I want you guys to go out and buy this. I'm sorry. I will bring you more and more. I mean, they go and talk of a golden age, and they go and talk about how, there'll be supernatural and metaphysical powers that can be used. But, you really need to see all of this information in this book and not just be able to cherry pick the good parts, okay? It's about seeking. And so I've given you the link to where you can get this book. It's underneath the video, and I definitely recommend that you go and get it. And, invest in some knowledge, guys, because it's well worth it. This book about the Andean ancient knowledge keepers, and I really do thank this artist, and she is an artist, of course, as well. Everyone that brings forth this information in the way that she does, and she goes into the book how she goes into these experiences with the Kiro. And so, this is why she has tapped into this information, okay? She's allowed it to flow through her. And she is also one of these knowledge keepers as well as the Andeans now, and she's played her part in the gathering of information, just as we all can, to help the collective. So Joan Parisi Wilcox, thank you. And Joan's link to her book will be under the video. Well, guys, now that I've given you a bit of a understanding of the Andean prophecy and how that's fitting into everything else, I will now let you digest all that, and I'll get together all of the information that I want to bring you in the next, listen to my throat is now going, I'll have to have a drink, and get you all of this information I've got to share with what I found, because look, it's so much, and what I'm doing is finding information, and then I'm kind of forgetting little bits and pieces as I'm finding more, because I'm not doing a video as I find it. So I've really probably got to do more frequent videos when I find stuff. But so what I'll do now is leave you here. Oh my God, I've never done an hour-long video before. So there you go. That's one for the books. And then I'll bring you part 2 with this diagram and how it's all connecting together with what we're finding with what they've left us in other areas of ancient knowledge and information. Well, guys, I will leave it there. And as always, peace out.